poor people buy expensive things and rich people don't, walk through almost any city and you'll notice something strange. The person driving the luxury car isn't always wealthy. The person wearing designer clothes isn't always rich. And sometimes, the millionaire standing next to them is dressed in a plain t-shirt and driving a 10-year-old vehicle. At first, that seems completely backwards. Shouldn't rich people be the ones buying all the expensive stuff? After all, they can afford it. Yet in reality, many financially struggling people spend heavily on luxury products, while many genuinely wealthy people live surprisingly modest lives. Why? Why would someone with limited money spend thousands on status symbols? And why do some wealthy people avoid them altogether? The answer has very little to do with money. It has everything to do with psychology. Because when people buy expensive things, they're often buying much more than the product itself. They're buying status. They're buying identity. They're buying a feeling. And understanding that difference can completely change the way you think about wealth. Let's start with a simple truth. Human beings care deeply about status. For thousands of years, social status helped determine survival. Being respected by the group often meant access to resources, protection, and opportunities. Our brains evolved to care about how others perceive us. That instinct still exists today. The difference is that modern status is often measured through possessions. The car you drive, the clothes you wear, the phone you carry, the house you live in. All of these things send signals. Whether we realize it or not, people constantly use possessions to communicate success. And expensive products send powerful signals. They tell the world you're successful, important, and financially secure. At least that's what many people hope they communicate. This is where things get interesting. People who feel financially insecure often care more about displaying success than people who are already secure. Imagine two individuals. One has a net worth of $5 million. The other is living paycheck to paycheck. Who is more likely to buy something simply to impress strangers? Surprisingly, it's often the second person. The wealthy individual already feels secure. The struggling individual may feel a stronger need to prove success, even if that success only exists on the surface. This explains why so many people finance luxury cars they can barely afford, why someone with credit card debt buys designer clothing, why people upgrade phones every year despite having little savings. From a financial perspective, these decisions seem irrational, but psychologically, they make perfect sense. Because the purchase isn't really about the product, it's about what the product represents. People don't buy luxury watches because they need to know the time. A cheap watch can do that. They buy them because the watch symbolizes success. The same applies to luxury cars, designer handbags, expensive sneakers, and countless other products. Many luxury brands aren't selling functionality. They're selling status. And status is one of the strongest forces influencing human behavior. Now let's look at the wealthy. One of the biggest surprises people discover when studying wealthy individuals is how ordinary many of them appear. Not all of them, of course. Some enjoy luxury, but many are surprisingly practical. Why? Because once you've achieved genuine financial security, your priorities begin to change. You stop asking, "What will people think of this?" and start asking, "Is this actually worth it?" That shift changes everything. The wealthy understand something called opportunity cost. Every dollar spent today is a dollar that can't be invested elsewhere. Imagine spending $50,000 on a luxury car. Most people see a car. A wealthy investor sees something different. They see what that money could become if invested. Over decades, that same money might grow several times over. Suddenly, the purchase looks much less attractive. This is one reason wealthy people often appear frugal. They're not focused on impressing others. They're focused on growing their assets. The average consumer sees a luxury purchase. The wealthy often see lost investment opportunities. That doesn't mean rich people never buy expensive things. They absolutely do. The difference is motivation. Many wealthy people buy luxury because they genuinely enjoy it. Many struggling people buy luxury because they want others to believe they're successful. One comes from confidence, the other comes from insecurity. And insecurity can be extremely expensive. Social media has made this problem much worse. In the past, people compared themselves to friends, neighbors, and coworkers. Today, they compare themselves to millions of people online. Every day, social media displays luxury cars, exotic vacations, designer clothing, and expensive lifestyles. What it doesn't show are the loans, the debt, the monthly payments, the financial stress. People showcase highlights, not reality. As a result, many viewers begin to believe everyone else is doing better than they are. That creates pressure. Pressure to spend, pressure to upgrade, pressure to keep up. Even when doing so damages their finances. The result is a dangerous cycle. People spend money they don't have to create lifestyles they can't sustain in order to impress people they don't even know. And the companies selling luxury products understand this perfectly because they've mastered emotional marketing. A luxury brand isn't selling leather, it's selling status. A luxury car company isn't selling transportation, it's selling prestige. A designer label isn't selling fabric, it's selling identity. The product itself is often secondary. The emotional experience is the real product. That's why luxury advertising rarely focuses on practical benefits. Instead, it focuses on how ownership makes you feel. Powerful, successful, admired, important, and those feelings are incredibly persuasive, especially for people who feel stuck, overlooked, or dissatisfied with their current circumstances. But here's the irony. The people most obsessed with looking rich are often the least likely to become rich. Because building wealth requires delayed gratification. It requires saying no to short-term rewards. It requires sacrificing appearances today for financial freedom tomorrow. And that's difficult. Human beings naturally prefer immediate rewards. Buying something expensive feels good instantly. Investing money doesn't. One provides excitement today. The other provides potential rewards years later. Most people choose the immediate reward. That's why wealth building often looks boring. Nobody gets compliments for contributing to an investment account. Nobody receives admiration for avoiding unnecessary purchases. Nobody posts pictures of choosing not to spend money. Yet those habits are often exactly what create wealth. The wealthy understand that real wealth is usually invisible. You can see someone's car, but you can't see their investment portfolio. You can see someone's watch, but you can't see their net worth. You can see someone's vacation, but you can't see their financial security. Appearances reveal very little. Reality often tells a completely different story. Some of the richest people in the world intentionally avoid looking wealthy. Not because they can't afford luxury, because they don't feel the need to advertise success. Their confidence comes from ownership, not appearances. From assets, not possessions. From freedom, not approval. And that mindset creates a massive advantage. When you're no longer trying to impress people, your financial decisions improve dramatically. You spend based on value rather than status. You focus on long-term outcomes rather than short-term attention. You invest more. Consume less. Build assets instead of liabilities. And over time, those small decisions compound. That's the secret. Many rich people are buying freedom. One focuses on appearances, the other focuses on ownership. One spends money to look successful, the other uses money to become successful. And that simple difference often determines who builds wealth and who merely looks like they have it. Because looking rich is easy. Being rich is much harder. And the people who truly understand money know those two things are rarely the same.